It's now time for Energy Insights, where you get an inside view and local perspective of all the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. This program is brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association and can be heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WMOA AM 1490, FM 101.3, Jaws Country FM 100.9, and ESPN Radio AM 630 and FM 92.9. Here's Johnny Wharf, your local host.
Saturday morning on the radio is another chance to talk Energy Insights, brought to you by Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association, and we're joined by Senior Vice President and Site Manager of Solvay, Wally Kandle. I bet you've been washing your hands a lot, haven't you, Wally?
Yeah, sure have, man, and trying to encourage my employees to do the same.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about that average person driving down the road, and they see the gas prices going down, and the barrels of oil. Talk about, in the grand scheme of things, what it means just to the average consumer.
Well, as the worldwide demand goes down, and that's really what's happening. You have production that has been increased across the globe, and certainly a lot in the United States and in this area because of demand. And as the world economies are kind of taking a big pause, and I hope it's just a pause, but it's a big slowdown. And there's a lot of facilities that are shut down. A lot of people are not driving cars. I mean, you can go on the road and see, and you got governors across the whole country saying not do that. So what's happened is that as that whole energy industry that was scaled to be producing all of this energy for the world as it's running at a normal pace, now all of a sudden all the tankers are getting filled up and other stuff, so the price is dropping really fast, and that's going to make energy cheaper for everybody, at least for a while here.
Wally Kandle is our guest to Energy Insights, and we share seats on the board of Shale Crescent, and maybe you can speak a little to the idea that the opportunity hasn't changed here, and maybe is even more so, given that the proximity of what we have around us compared to what people can do from a business standpoint here is so beneficial.
Yeah, in every crisis, there's an opportunity. That's many people before me said that, so it's not. But it's really true, and in this case, people. I think the general public has got educated a lot during this crisis. I don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, "You got to be kidding me! What do they mean? Almost all the antibiotics are made in China, and what do you mean we don't have PPE that's made in the United States, and we don't have masks, and we don't have these gowns and ventilators and all this stuff?" And so I think there's been a big education to where people are sitting there going, "Gosh, what have we done over the last 20 or 30 years with some of our manufacturing?" And as we look at that, and we look at it as a country, we're going to find that from a resource availability and a cost of energy and stuff, it's going to be real attractive to bring a lot of that manufacturing jobs back in the U.S. And if you look inside the U.S., certainly the best place to bring is where the cheapest energy is, which is here.
Yeah, and we've discussed, we're aware that Shale Crescent, what they're trying to do is bring these businesses here, not only for their benefit, but for our benefit as it scales to the economy. But then you see the Marcellus to manufacturing, and these are collaborative groups. I mean, we're all looking to do the same thing, right?
Sure, yeah, and the Marcellus to manufacturing is kind of founded in West Virginia, and it's got participants from all three states: Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and it's really saying, hey, geez, we've got this energy. How do we get this? Get a lot of this natural gas and this energy that's being produced here locally. How do we, bring that into manufacturing? And it's a good organization that's doing that, and it's drawing a lot of attention. And the what Shale Crescent does is Shale Crescent takes a lot of the information that those guys have, a lot of the information that we've developed and others, and get it in the hands of the decision makers for the guys that are, saying, okay, where am I going to build my next plant? Where am I going to be doing that? And I think, like I said, I think this crisis, I think there's going to be a pause in, am I going to build a great big petrochemical complex? I'm not saying that the ones that are under construction and other stuff are going to be paused for a long time. I'm just saying the company's got to step back and say, what is the economy going to look like? How, what is this recession going to look like? Is it a V? Is it a U? Is it an L? Is it going to take 1 year to recover? 3, 4 years? And all that has to come to play. But in that, like I said, in every crisis, there's an opportunity, and I think the message that we'll be sending is to say, hey, look here. If you look at the cost of manufacturing in China, 30 years ago, there was a big advantage. Today, not so much. I mean, the labor rates have increased quite a bit in China. They've got a lot more internal consumption, and they've got a lot of other issues that complicate things for them. And so as we've learned more and more about that, I think there's going to be people looking a lot harder at investing here. If your business uses natural gas, I mean, we have 5 times the amount of natural gas than the entire country of China has. So, I mean, there's a big advantage here for that.
Energy Insights is the program brought to you every Saturday by Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Our guest is Wally Kandle. He's the Senior Vice President and Site Manager of Solvay. A couple other quick thoughts. Last week we talked to Jerry James on this program, and the thought at the time was, the prices can't get any lower. And I think by the time we finished the conversation, they got a lot lower. So can anybody forecast this? I mean, it's got to turn pretty quickly, doesn't it?
Well, I think it's all dependent on how fast we get things moving again and how well this, as the states are starting to try to restart their economies. If that goes pretty well, I think we're going to see prices stabilize pretty quickly, and even future prices as early as July recover pretty well. But, if we get started and all of a sudden we get another wave like they've had in Japan, they've had in Singapore, they've had second waves as they were opening up that had to force them back into shutdown. So hopefully we don't see that. If we don't, then I think we'll start seeing some things. But, yeah, it is, I kind of tend to agree with Jerry. It's pretty tough for them to become lower because, I've never seen these prices this low in my lifetime. I mean, I remember when I graduated from college, I thought, these prices are terrible. They're lower now than they were then. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and I hope I see you in church soon. I'll tell you, that's one thing that I miss for sure. The last thought, and I think people wonder, and I don't know what the answer is, but all the projects that were going on, and people like to reference the white trucks and the hotels and the different oil workers that we'd seen around. Are they still around, or are they coming back, or where are we with that?
Well, I think there is some work going on. There's some of the wells that are in different phases of completion. That you have a certain amount of money and already spent, and you kind of need to finish it. There's other ones that might have a regulatory expiration that are still getting done. But I think it's for the most part, as much of that work that can be stopped, I would say, has been. There is still some going on, and really the cure to all that is consumption and demand. So, we kind of need to. If the economy's not running, there's not a big demand. That's what it's kind of scary. We saw this price of oil theoretically going below zero. I mean, what happened there is that these guys had traded this stuff on paper, and then when it came time that you had to either take the product or that, there was no place to put the product. I mean, this is kind of the world's getting full. All the storage containers are getting full, and until we get the engine running and burning that fuel, and people driving cars and industry running at a normal pace, it's going to be a little tough to see a lot of that work going on here locally.
Yeah, the program's called Energy Insights, and we just filled it up. I asked for 5 minutes, and I took 10. So don't watch me next time, right? Well, I appreciate your time, as always, and wish you the best of luck.
All right, thanks, John. Hope to see you at church soon.
Indeed. Energy Insights brought to you by Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association.
Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on WMOA Local Radio, Jaws Country, and ESPN Radio, as Johnny Wharf brings you your local and inside perspectives going on in the oil and gas industry right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley.